This is Vicki Close, Farm Diggity. I'm with Scott Glenn, Soldier Hollow champion. Just so we remember, it's 2024 because you've won it many times, but you've won it this year with Pip. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to talk about your trip to get here because we've kind of been traveling Utah and Colorado. Mm-hmm. So the first trial you went before you got here was what trial?
Ooh.
Think back.
Goring Ranch.
Goring Ranch.
Goring Ranch.
You went to the Goring Ranch trial. It was great. Yeah. Then we went over to Carbondale to Bridget Strang's trial. That was good. If I remember right, you won the double lift there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then over to Hotchkiss. Did you go to Hotchkiss?
I did. Yeah. I think.
I'm pretty sure.
I think if we went on the prize list, we would wonder if I went. But.
I'm pretty sure you were there at Hotchkiss. That was a great little trial that Jolie put on.
Yeah, it's a wonderful little trial.
And then now we're at Soldier Hollow. We've had a date change and a changing of the guards. You know, they say that if a corporation does a good job in putting everything in place, that somebody else can pick it up and run it. And that's what we're seeing at Soldier Hollow. Carol Clausen and Judy have taken over Soldier Hollow, and it ran pretty darn great.
You know, I think that's a real testament to what Mark Peterson did. Mark and Howard.
Absolutely.
You know, they got that going. You know, we lost Howard a couple of years ago. But yeah, they both had I think Mark had the dream, Howard believed in it, and they just made it what it is today. You know, and Carol and a vast amount of volunteers pulled it off. And I think the weather was a little scary on Saturday, but I think they had I went down to the camper for a couple hours, walking with my dog, had a little nap, made myself a sandwich, started coming back, and it was like the James Herriot. I always remember the James Herriot farmer that he'd went to town once and he didn't like it. He says, and James Herriot said, why? Because he was a shepherd and out walking in the hills. Yeah. And he says, because in the city it's big steps, little ones. Big steps, little ones. Because he couldn't get out in stride. He had to wait for somebody to move on the road, and that was what it was like. Big steps coming down, but big steps, little ones on the way back.
Yeah,
so
it was the crowd.
It filled up in a hurry.
The crowd came, and even in the rain they came.
Yes.
I had a booth there, and people, and they were pretty darn cheerful in the rain. I was really surprised.
Yeah,
but,
no, it was.
And then
it was a phenomenal event. I'm so happy for Carol and crew.
Yeah.
And Judy and you know, you can't even start to mention everybody or forget somebody. So it was they pulled it off wonderfully. The sheep were amazing, both quality and how they worked.
They were beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had a little bit of wool on them, and so for an artistic, they were pretty sheep. Yeah. They were healthy and nice.
No, they were fantastic sheep.
And our setter's good too.
Oh,
good setting.
Yeah, Chris and Liz and company, and I think Josh Gibson was up there helping a lot. Yeah. And you know, I'll forget somebody I didn't know who was up there, but they did a phenomenal job.
It was nice. It was really good. So, just to go on, I want to talk a little bit about your run. Your double lift run. I mean, you were excellent in the prelims as well, but run us through Pip's run and remind us how old Pip is now.
He's 6.
He's 6 years old, so
still. He won it last year, and he's had a good career so far. He's been reserve. He's been in the national finals 3 times. He's been reserve twice and won it last year. So,
you know, the thing I noticed about your run is he always just moves forward and he doesn't upset the sheep, but he keeps them rolling, and he's enough dog because they got heavy here.
Yeah, yes, they did.
And he just moved them fine, and especially in the double lift. You got in that shedding ring. Your outwork was beautiful as always. You got in that shedding ring, and you ended up with 1.
Yeah. Well, that was his fault.
Tell me. Well, tell me.
Well, we had 3 to go. And the 3 were going, and he moved just a little bit to stop them. And I got him stopped before he stopped the 2, but not the 1. And apparently he was convincing because she dug herself in. She really was happy about staying where she was at.
I was next, so I was just peeking around the tent, but I couldn't see the clock. I didn't have a clock on you, but holy mackerel, she just kept in the middle,
Yeah,
in the middle.
yeah. Well, and I had her off the other side a couple times, but I think I still had like 5 minutes when she started showing up on the other side, and I might have been able to peel her off if I switched sides, but I had a good shed going, and I didn't want to give any points away if I can help it. So, before utter panic struck in, I could, I just maneuvered it around a little bit and finally able to pop her off. But I had to start putting a little bit more on the collared ones because they were getting a little proud of themselves. So part of it, I think part of what helped is I was forced to, push them onto the collared ones pretty hard. But she was buried in, so she didn't realize the dog was pushing in.
Oh,
So
okay.
it didn't break her from wanting to go necessarily, but it did help the collared ones.
You schooled on them a
A
little.
little bit, yeah. When it got desperate, it turned out to be a good move. It worked.
Yeah, and then she came off the right side there, and off she went. But it was, and then now you're at the pen, and that pen was not a give me. You had to.
No, the pen was, pretty much all weekend. There was the odd group that walked in without much, but they weren't hard to get them penned once you got them in the mouth. The snag was getting them in the mouth.
Right.
And then if you had enough time, they wanted to look at your dog even in the mouth most of the time. But as long as you had the dog to, you could pressure him. You had to bully him a little bit into that mouth, and then a lot of people just used themselves because once they were in that mouth, they didn't have really an inkling as a whole to try to run around the side.
Right.
You could pretty much push them. They were pretty forgiving then.
Right. Your dog could kind of. Did you feel?
Well, your dog didn't. Once you got him in the mouth, I mean, I like to use my dog because I don't know. I've never liked somebody just stay back there and I'll do it. But and as a judge, most judges are going to hit something for that if you're, purposely just not using your dog. But you didn't really have to after they got him in the mouth. But they'd already done their job to get him in the mouth because it was no cakewalk to get them there. Right. And as the mud, they've got a wheel on that 10,000-pound pen, and
it was heavy.
And about I think they have to grease that wheel about every 2 runs to keep it so we can open it up. But the track got deeper with the rain because we hadn't moved the pens, so they didn't want to go over that track to make it a little more. But once they get over the track, I think the track helped them stay in.
Really?
Yeah.
See, those are the fine details that.
Well, we were assuming that I know what I'm talking about, but I thought once they got over the track, it was hard to push them over, but it helped keep them in as well.
It's the little details. Well, he ran good. Tell me about what you have coming up, because you've done this over and over with different dogs. You've been successful with different dogs. He's 6.
Yeah.
What's in your kennel? What do you got?
Well, I think my next
future?
one that I like, but she's not been running good on this road trip. We're gonna get home and just get back to some basics a little bit. Is missed. I mean, she ran really well last year, and she's kind of going through a sophomore slump. And she's got a few prizes this year, but she's not running like she did last year. And that's the frustrating thing about being on the road for 2 months. We've been on the road for 2 months, and I think we've got sheep to work without a trial atmosphere to just go and be able to train one day out of that.
That's
so tough. It's part of the frustrating thing. If they're going good. But if they start declining, you can just try to help them through it and try not to get too many bad habits as you're going. And she ran well, but a little bit too on the muscle for doing a real precise one. They'll move, but it's hard to get much precision. She's not opening on her flank. She's not stopping very well. She's moving things well.
Right.
But basically, she's kind of lost her faith in me a little bit too, I think, just not quite sure. Just got to get back to basics. So then I've got a nursery dog. I got Scott McCauley's Mark. I've got 2 nursery dogs there. One I don't own. And he was a bright spot at the Bluegrass. He managed to cross over every which way but loose the first 3 runs. But there, I think he had 6 runs. So I mean, once he got the outrun down, it's a tricky field. So I didn't fault him for that. But I thought the third time you've been up there, so the third time he crossed again. But then he finally got his outrun brain going, and he was really the bright spot. Pip was too. He ran well, but. He just had that nice way with sheep, and then I was going to send a dog out as a farm dog, his litter mate, that he just wouldn't finish an outrun. Wasn't that keen on the outrun, and so I let them have him for, a few days to see, until I left the bluegrass to make sure he was going to fit, and they didn't think it was quite for them. So I brought him back, worked him, not at a trial yet,
Right,
but
right.
worked with somebody holding him the one day we had
Yeah.
working with somebody. And although he didn't ace the outrun, he was willing for me to help him. So, I think he'll be.
That might be a nice.
I think you probably saw him. It was a dog, I had at Fido's farm that he'd pull up short and he just wouldn't go over. I'd flank him over and he just kept coming in. He would not take any help at all. So, but if he's over that, it'll be maybe the best return that I've had. Because I liked everything about him, so it might be.
Happy accident.
With any luck. It'll be a good story if he turns out, and if not, it won't be.
Right. There you go. Speaking of Fido Farms, and I want to talk about work ethic. And that my husband, Norman, said the thing that makes Scott is his work ethic. He outworks us.
Well, the thing is, though, I think if that's what does it, then shame on everybody for not doing well. If that's what holds you back is work, then shame on you.
Okay.
I've got no excuse I've got no sympathy for somebody that figures, well, they just work harder. Well, if you want, then you better be happy not winning. If that's what gives you the win, then you better get your butt out of bed, work harder.
Right. Well,
but work smarter.
Well, and that is kind of my point, because we were at Fido's farm.
Yeah.
We all trialed all day long, and when I was there, here you come down with your two dogs, Mist and Pip, and after everybody was done, after the trial, after you had done all those clinics, all those lessons, you took each one down separately and worked them again.
Yeah.
And
well, the thing is, you're not going to get. Well, it's fresh in my mind and fresh in my mind. I want to get, get it right. And that's, and that, it really, I don't like to overtrain if I can help it, but I do want it fresh in my mind and more importantly, fresh in their mind.
But it would have been easy to just.
I felt like, because if
your feet up.
If I remember right, I just finished doing about 10 days of lessons too. So
You did.
I was tired. I guess I just. If I would have went to the house, I'd have went back out anyway, because it started bugging me. So,
yeah. Well, I saw you there. I saw you at Carbondale, setting sheep, working your dogs, volunteering, making sure your dogs were on sheep as much as you can. So, work ethic is huge in it.
Well, the thing is, you just work ethic with the dogs, right? Because if you try to shortcut it, you're never doing a proper job. If everything else takes precedence, the dogs are going to look like everything takes precedence. Everything else. Like I told a friend of mine, he was very busy, and is busy, just doing everything else, and his dogs weren't really performing. And like I told him, it's a good excuse, but the dogs don't care.
Right. There's your tip of the day.
No, but and then if you don't put the time in, you get what you get. Yeah.
And no truer words spoken for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about overcoming adversity, because you went to the bluegrass, and then you came back, and I saw Jenny's post that you were broke down. So there you are in you're 2 hours away, you're broke down, your turbo went out in your truck. There's many adversities. There's adversity of just having a sick dog or a lame dog, but this is a mechanical one. How do you and I said, and we laughed, because I said, he'll get here and make the handlers meeting, and maybe I won't, but you will. And you did. You both got here early. You made your run. You had to get up at how many? 4 a.m. to get here?
At least I think before that, but really, in fairness, if it wasn't for Victor and McGill, we wouldn't have. Those two mechanics worked on that till midnight, getting that thing. They got all the parts before everything closed, you know, they weren't dead sure it was a turbo. They thought it was, but so they had the turbo there. We was lucky enough that a place in town had one. So that wasn't me. All I had to do was drive and wait for them to fix it and try to cheer them on a little bit so they didn't decide, oh, we're tired, because they were tired. You know, they worked till midnight. A lot of those people, a lot of the dealers and the mechanics, they wouldn't even think of looking at us. In fact, they were doing a favor by even answering the phone for us. So, I mean, I hope if it takes a downturn, I would go to those people before I'd go to the people that I was a pain in the neck to talk with.
Excellent. You things lined up right, and you looked out there,
Yeah,
didn't you?
yeah. Oh, they were fantastic. You know, you couldn't ask any more. Now, if I break down, I might be. It's a little long for them to come and get me from here, or us from here. But no, I can't say enough about them.
How do you keep focused when things like that happen? Right before you run, something bad happens, or you break down, or what? How do you get your focus back?
Drugs. No, I don't know. You just
can I sell those on Barter Ticketing?
I mean, you just focus. I mean, that's, you know, I played sports growing up too, and it's just focus and avoid, be just focused so distractions don't bother you. You know. I mean, you can tune it right out. I don't think it's tuned right out. Like for me, at least, everybody will deal with it differently, obviously. But you know, I guess what's that saying? When the ship is sailing, the violin's got to play the quietest. You know, did I say sailing or sinking?
Oh, sinking.
Sinking.
Maybe
I meant
sinking.
But you know, just to focus. But you know, I mean, not to focus so much you're not aware of other things, but it's...
Well, speaking of that,
yeah.
At the Bluegrass, the announcer was saying how many times you'd won the Bluegrass,
well,
and you're in the shedding ring,
yes.
in the shedding ring, and you're with your fingers helping him to count.
Well, and Ray and I, we're good friends too, and I mean, I hope it didn't look arrogant. It wasn't. It was just meant as a joke.
It was funny.
I suppose if you like Scott, you'll find it funny. If you don't, you'll find it arrogant. So it just depends on what way you want to spin it. But no, he said I'd won the national finals 6 times, and I said like this because I hadn't really started my shed too much
but
yet.
You were.
But I think I'd had 1 cut off or something, and. So he said 6 times he's won the national finals, and I went like this again, and he couldn't see me, I don't think, or he was bugging me, and then finally he changed it to 7. So I should have said more.
Well, there it is.
I can still do that. Alistair McRae, he can't do it because he'd have to take shoes off as well for him to count his toes.
Oh my heavens! Yeah, he's won it a lot of times.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
But no, it's funny, and actually here. If I didn't think I was maybe just overdoing an act, I would have. When I started closing the pen before
the crowd went.
The crowd started cheering, and I almost turned and went like this. But I thought I'm going to look like a real horse's ass if they get out when I do that. So
well, you have the focus, but you do know your surroundings.
Yes,
and I guess when
not always. At Carbondale. I was so focused on the spot I had just before the cross drive gate, a little dark spot in the grass.
Yeah.
And I was running mist, and she was just being a little pale, and you had to kind of really. So I made the turn, and I really focused on that lump of grass. I think I missed that panel. Brought him in, and I thought, boy, I'm going to break a nice line. So I started walking to the pen, and she was just stroking it nicely. And the judge called me. And I didn't realize there was the same patch of grass in front of the fetch gates as the cross drive gates. I drove the fetch gates. I haven't done that in 20 years. I did it twice in my life, and that was one time.
Oh my heavens.
But I was so focused, and both times it was because I was so focused on trying to get that dog around that wasn't performing very well.
Yeah.
That obviously my wide angle vision is not very good.
But that's the thing, I guess, if your machine is running correctly, then you can bear down and that's your dogs are so broke, and they can take care of themselves when they need to, but they're so broke you can rely on them, and you can kind of focus back to
well, the thing is, if they're not broke, it's hard to focus on the precision, and then You know, like the way Mist was running this year or this trip. You can't focus on precision because she just won't let you.
Yeah.
You're too busy just trying to keep the wheels from falling off. And whereas him, I can, you know, we know each other pretty well.
Right.
You know, he's been, you know, he's been a wonderful team member for me, much like his father was a wonderful team member. They were a wonderful team, Ricky and him.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not any secret. I'm a big fan of Ricky's dogs and
Right.
Ricky's handling.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, there's so many good handlers over there. Not trying to.
I know.
Just cut him out. You know, or,
Yeah.
But he's just. I just like the way he works his dogs and you know and his dogs have courage, but not making trouble all the time, you know.
Yeah.
A lot like him. He's a different style than his dad, I think, quite a bit, but maybe that's training, maybe that's just him, I don't know, but what it is what it is. But you know, him you can trust. You can ask him to come on without, he's not going to take a cheap shot. Very seldom.
Right.
I mean, he might some, but it'll be very seldom. You can trust him, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, Mist, I wouldn't want to be asking her up like that. It might not. Of course, with her, it's not usually asking up right now. It's slow the heck down. Jeez.
Well, that's good. It's good to have enough dog.
Yeah. We'll be ready for Calgary if we'd entered.
You know, the very first clinic I went to was I was running agility dogs, and you
Ice cream.
Yes, ice cream,
ice
ice
cream.
cream. And I went to your clinic by an accident. My friends grabbed me and
He lost a bet.
and we went and but I remember back in those days, I hope this doesn't embarrass you. I don't mean to, but we all went to dinner at that one of those clinics, and we put the doggy bag, everything in the doggy bag, and gave it to you. So you know what I want to talk about is that you were not raised with a silver spoon in your mouth. You kicked, fought, and drug your way up the ladder, and money and hard times.
Oh yeah, I mean, I slept in the back of the truck a lot. You know, there was no such thing as a camper. I had a half-ton 6.2 Chev diesel that would get about 30 miles to the gallon, and I just loved it. And it took me a lot of spots, and I'd sleep in the truck or in the back or the, you know, in a box stall one time. I went to one, it was in conjunction with a cutting, you know, a horse cutting, and I had 3 dogs. Somebody said, well, take one of those empty box stalls, take it. So I brought my sleeping bag in there and with the 3 dogs, and we just hunkered down for the night. And I woke up and it was just breaking daylight, and I was thinking, God, I was snorting and sniffing, and I thought, you know, these cutters, they've got so much money, why would they get such chaffy straw?
Oh no.
Can't be that, you know, that can't be good for the horses. And so I got up, and I had hair then, not like now, quite a bit of hair. And so I got up, took my dogs out, and there was somebody grooming their horse. I'm not sure as it wasn't Luann Tor's dad, looking back. But
okay.
Anyway, and I don't know him at all, but
Yeah.
I know, you know, Luann's dad is a very successful cutter.
Yeah.
And whoever it was, I said, good morning, and they looked at me like I thought, what a stuck-up bunch. You know,
Yeah.
just because you got money, you don't have to be stuck up like that.
Right.
And so I went to the truck, got my brush, my hairbrush, cranked my mirror, going to comb my hair, and I've got goose feathers all over my hair. One of the dogs had chewed a hole in my eider-down sleeping bag over the night, and I had goose feathers. That cutter, he's probably still remembering, who in the heck came out of that?
Oh my gosh.
So I had to change my tune on, well, they're not stuck up. They're just thinking I'm crazy.
The goose boy. Oh my heavens, he made a nest. Oh heavens. Yeah. Well, your father pushed you a bit as a kid?
Oh, my dad always pushed me hard. You know, he was a hard worker himself, and he demanded a lot of us. But we probably were pouting at the time, but you just didn't have the option to say no. I mean,
Right.
And so we were running all the farm equipment or what we could. You know,
Yeah.
I probably started out at 10. But probably not where there were fences for cultivating, just in case. But,
Yeah.
but no, we'd worked hard. But I mean, a lot of farm kids worked hard. A lot of kids work hard.
Yeah.
You know, farm kids, it's a different kind of work, obviously. But
Yeah.
anybody that's And I think it, you know, for better or worse, it's made me what I am today.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
would say.
I mean, I just, you know, we got along pretty good as a whole. We've worked hard and fought hard, and but not we got along well as a whole.
Wonderful.
But it's just a work ethic. Just there's no sense. You can either pout or you can try to do something about it.
It shows, and I think it's for people trying to navigate this world.
Yeah.
Grit, work ethic.
Yeah, yeah. As far as, you know, you're saying, you know, about working hard. Certainly, you get a dog trained working hard, but I think I attribute a lot. I don't know how much is just kind of inherit, you know, abilities, if you will. But
Yeah.
I really attribute my dad for, you know, you know, I read stock pretty well as a whole, and I attribute that to him. Never worked sheep, but always with cattle, sorting cattle, and by God, you didn't in, out, in, and you better not let it go by.
No. I understand that.
Yes, anybody's worked stock, you know, together with somebody.
With their dad.
There's always going to be, because there's no time for feelers,
No.
get it done.
No, get it done.
But I think I really attribute a lot of my stockmanship to that, because he was known as a wonderful stockman around when he had cattle as well. So
That's great. What's next for you? You guys are off to another trial.
tabletop Lee Sanderson's,
Yeah.
which is a wonderful trial. I think you get 4 different runs from different areas of the field, so it's a nice thing. And then finally Jamie Springs, which, as far as the way to finish it, you know, Jamie's an evil thing, but
I met her. I hear you.
Jamie Springs is probably, you know, that family is one of our very favorite.
Yeah.
You know, the donuts and Lee and Jamie.
Yeah. The little ones.
Yeah, and Joni's free-range chickens.
Don't eat the chickens.
Yeah, but no, to finish it off, it's great because it's a wonderful laid-back trial, good competition, wonderful.
There goes the sheep.
There goes
you
the
can
sheep.
hear the truck
Yep.
in the background. They're all loaded. They did wonderful.
But that's a good way to finish off.
Yeah.
So,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Thank you very much for taking the time.
Well, you're welcome.
Get it done. I'll say that. And it's a good life. Farm Diggity.